I forget about our new music. I love it.
I love it too.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very next episode of The Remedy with Tova Sido and
Janice Gaunt and
Tom Bridwell.
yay.
what's up, everybody?
Oh,
Hello.
not well. Actually, I have an announcement to make.
Let's go.
I'm not pregnant. You'll be really
Dang.
glad to know. I would make
That
a
would
lot
be
of
quite a
money.
story.
It would be quite a story. So, seeing as
You
how I have
would.
no uterus, nothing.
You would make a lot
I
of
would
money.
make a lot of money. Well, if you go to Amazon and you put in Janice Gaunt, Prince Charming is Dead or in Rehab is available to purchase.
Serious?
Yay.
Yes.
Wait a minute. I thought
Yes.
it just went to print.
Well, it did like about a week ago, and
It's already ready?
It is published. Yes,
Hot damn.
I know.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
I'm so excited.
Wow.
Thank you.
So everybody can order it right
yeah,
now.
you can order it right now.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Everybody stop what you're doing and go to Amazon and buy it. I read it and it is fabulous.
Oh, thanks, Tova.
Oh, it is. And I'm engaged and it's really geared towards a single person.
Yes.
However, the nuggets in it, I have to say, they're good for parenting.
Uh-huh.
They're good to give advice to friends. It's good if you're married. It's just good reminders about what it takes to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
It's a great book.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Phenomenal.
I'm so excited. I couldn't believe it. I got an email yesterday, or I guess I checked my emails yesterday, and the publisher, that agent that was working with me said, she sent an email that said, "Congratulations, you have been published."
It's.
And
did you
and she
dance
said
around the house?
Yeah, I was so excited. And
Did y'all celebrate?
yeah, we did. I mean, we were excited. I'm going to have Blair wants to have a little book
book
launch
signing
thing. So I'll probably do that at some point. But yeah, and I'm never going to write another book as long as I live.
We talked about that. Because then you'd have to have another goal, and your goal is not to have goals.
My goal is just stay alive. That's my primary goal. Stay alive and attend my grandchildren's sporting events. Tom and I drove to Louisville on Saturday night to watch Owen play in a basketball game. I mean, it's the most. It's honestly and truly going to those kids, their activities. It's the most fun thing I do, except going to San Miguel and recording with you and Tom.
That is so cute.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy for you, Janice.
Thank you.
That is a long time coming. That was blood, sweat, and tears. Did your first book, The Shame Game, was that as difficult to plow through and finish?
Well, it was difficult because it took longer because I had thought about it a long time before I started. And then once I started, it was pretty easy for me to get on a roll. But it's honestly and truly with both of them, I liked writing Prince Charming is Dead or in Rehab because it's kind of funny. It's lighthearted and kind of...
and a lot of the stories are really
and
fun to listen to.
And so, so that was fun for me to make it a little irreverent in places instead
Your
of...
personality really comes out in it.
It does.
For sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Because the Shame Game is so serious too.
Very not analytical. I don't know what the word. Smart.
Yeah, it's like treating something.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And
That's a great
I
way
do
to say
put
it.
a little bit of some of the shame stuff in this book because it is applicable as far as getting yourself straight before you go looking for Prince Charming.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have another bit of good news.
What? You're pregnant.
I'm definitely not pregnant.
Good.
Thank God. I don't know that I did good with the 3 I have. I don't think I need to do one more.
The problem with your children is they're normal.
Yeah.
That's
teenagers
the problem.
and teenagers. Tomorrow is 1 year since my accident.
Oh my gosh.
And look at me now, sister.
I mean, do you I wonder if tomorrow you will have any sort of
I've been weepy.
anxiety?
I've been weepy all week.
So that's trauma response. Mm-hmm. You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
I was in yoga
Tova.
last week on Friday morning, and I just started bawling.
I bet.
Just to know that my body can do yoga. I mean, I was thinking about the pain that I was in the hospital. Craig and I were talking about. My biggest fear about leaving the hospital was I didn't know how I was going to get from my wheelchair to the car.
I remember
because it was
that.
so painful. Anyway, I'm so excited. I feel like a year mark is always like
huge.
A thing, whether it's a loss or a death or a tragedy. I think a year kind of like, okay, I'm going to shut that door, done with that.
I agree. That was the scariest thing. I'll never forget. I can't remember who texted me.
Didn't Blair tell you?
No, somebody texted me and said Tova's been in a tragic accident.
Maybe Stacy or Natalie.
So then I called him back and I said, "Is she going to be okay?" And they said, "We don't know." I mean, it was a miracle, girl.
It was a miracle. Speaking of Natalie, her and her sweet family are the sponsors for the next 3 shows.
Oh my gosh!
I know, they gave a very generous donation to all of us, that's
Tom, so sweet. Thank you.
You're gonna get paid.
Yeah.
Thanks to the McGuires. So this little series, we're going to do 3 mini series. And I'm going to let you introduce our topic. But the McGuires are sponsoring these next 3. So
good.
Let's go.
Good. Okay. So we're going to do probably 3 of these episodes on this so that we get it all covered enough, and because I think these are really important. These are AL-ANON slogans, and years ago I started going to AL-ANON, which is AL-ANON is a support meeting for people whose lives have been affected by alcohol, somebody else's drinking, and so then it's for people of the other people, not the drinkers, but the other people that are, as I always said, I was just batshit crazy. There was nothing to blame it on except that I was obsessed with what was happening, trying to fix it, all of those things. And so one of the things when I started going to Al-Anon, the first time I walked into that meeting, I looked around at all these people, all different, from every different place ever, different ages, anything. And I looked around and I was like, oh yeah, I don't think these are my people. And so I left, and probably
I think a lot of people probably think that the first time they go into something like that.
And then probably a year later, when I drove around one day and tried to figure out how to kill myself because I was told that I could not get out of my marriage. And so then I went back to Al-Anon and wanted to pitch a tent. I didn't want to ever leave because all those people, they saved my life. They really saved my life.
Wow.
And one of the things that they have when you go to those meetings is they have these slogans that are all around the room. And so they're just one sentence little thing. And that was the way, because when you go in there, you're not sure what this is all about, because Al-Anon is based on the big book in a lot of ways, the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And the guy who started AA, his wife was one of the primary founders of Al-Anon. And because whenever there's the disease of alcoholism, or has been in your family of origin or anything like that, it continues to affect you the rest of your life. And so what we have to do that is fix ourselves, because most people are so obsessed with the person who's drinking or using drugs or whatever too much or have been in the past. We're so focused on trying to control them and get them to stop, and we get sick and blah, 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 instead of taking the focus off of them and focusing on ourselves. And once, I would just sit in that room and cry, and because these people were speaking to me. It was probably one of the most impactful thing I've ever experienced as far as a group setting. I've never been in a church service that did what that did to me, because it is so spiritual,
It is rooted in
and
spirituality.
Yeah, and I had some hope because people were laughing about it. Oh yeah, I remember when I went out in the garage and found all these bottles and I broke them all, and then the next day they were all new bottles back there. I was in a meeting and there was this woman. She was so pretty and she was sitting across the room, and she said, some people, they introduce, when you go, you introduce yourself and you say, "Hi, I'm Janice," or not your last name, but just your first name. And she said, "I've been coming to Al-Anon for 18 years. And I was thinking, what? You're still going? Because I thought it was going to be like maybe 2 meetings for me, because I'm a good student. Done that, And then I realized that those principles of the program are lifelong lessons, and you get, when you have that toolbox with the lesson, with what Al-Anon is all about, then it's applicable to many, 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 many situations. So what we're going to talk about are the slogans. And for people whose lives have not been affected by alcoholism or have never been to an Al-Anon meeting, I think you will like these slogans.
Great value.
Oh my gosh.
I've never been to Al-Anon, and I read through these and I loved them.
Aren't they great?
Oh, they're fabulous. So let me ask you, is Al-Anon and AA, like if I went to Al-Anon here and then I went to Al-Anon in San Francisco, is it the same experience?
Exactly the same.
Okay.
It's all based on the same books, the same readings, the big book of AA, and on all the slogans. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a universal experience if you were to go to Al-Anon.
And people who go to Al-Anon actually work the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So then you get a sponsor, just like you do, just like people who are drinking or using drugs or they get a sponsor, because those of us on the other side of the street, like I needed a lot of help.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so it's really the same program. It's just that, like, step 1 is admitted we were powerless over alcohol and our lives had become unmanageable. So that's the first step 1 of AA. In Al-Anon, it's the same 12 steps. So then you look at that and you think, yeah, I'm powerless over alcohol. I'm powerless over people, places, things, all of it. So we can take these slogans and the steps, which we won't talk about today really, although we may talk a little bit about it, but they're just really good
life advice.
Yes.
Al-Anon, can it be support for people who are like you weren't the alcoholic, but you lived with one? What if the addiction is like sex or
same thing?
Okay, so it's not just
there are
treatment of alcohol.
Well, there are 12-step meetings for sex addicts also,
but it's not called AA, but it's still
it's called Sex Addicts Anonymous.
Okay, and rooted in the same concepts,
same 12 steps, same slogans, all of that. So any of those programs are going to be the same. And what's nice about it, because some people who have a problem with drugs or alcohol or sex have co-addictions, and for the people in Al-Anon, for us, it was more about us being addicted to the person that we thought had the problem.
Sure.
Whereas really my problem was my problem.
Yeah. Dang it.
I know.
Dang it. When my problem is my problem.
Yeah, exactly.
So much easier when my problem is your problem.
Yeah. And you know what? And also there are people who grew up in a family system where there were no addictions that they are aware of, but they were raised in a family. They were raised in a traumatic system that had some sort of historical base around AA. So the behaviors that people learn, they will pass those down to, my mother and dad. They barely drank at all, but they were probably religious addicts. Because they were very, very, very fundamental with that, and some of that they could have used AL-ANON. And really, once I got into AL-ANON, my mom and dad read the books and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so helpful." Because like step one, they didn't feel like they were powerless over my sister and I and stuff. But anyway, so that's kind of too long.
Perfect.
Probably.
No, I love the background, and for people who aren't familiar with AA or AL-ANON, I think it's super helpful.
Yeah. Good. So this is a little blurb on what the Al-Anon slogans are about. Unlike some of Al-Anon's practices and principles that take a while to learn and apply, the Al-Anon slogans are easy to learn and remember. You may have heard some of these slogans hundreds of times before ever taking them seriously or trying to put them to work. After all, they are cliches and easy to disregard, but it is their very simplicity that make them so powerful.
I love it.
Okay, cool. I'll read like the first one and then we'll go around. Okay, the first one is, how important is it? And so, for example, in one of our Al-Anon books, Hope for Today, it says, it's not important for me to comment on everything I hear. It is important for me to let go and let others make the decisions for themselves. So that's good, isn't it? And that before we get involved in it, we ask ourselves, how important is it? And really, is it my business?
God, I could really work on that.
Me too.
I know.
Holy cow.
I know.
Why do you say that, Tom? How do you see that manifest in your life, if you don't mind me asking?
I think I've definitely gotten better with this question, with asking myself that, because I don't always, but I definitely, with age, I have learned to ask myself that. But mainly, I'm going to be teaching that to my daughter. That's the main reason I'm speaking up, because right now, you know how girls are, especially that age. Everything is like the most important thing. Yeah. There's no middle ground. It's just either insanity or dead. Those are the two options.
Yeah.
Insanity or dead. Yep, you have a girl.
So I definitely will be using that one as I keep raising her and whatnot. I think that's a great one.
I think that is so powerful for parents, because when you, to your point, Tom, when you water down or when you talk too much or over-explain or lecture too long or say the same thing 10 different ways, it really does water down the point. I mean, I think that this is, Craig is so good at this, and because of it, his boys listen to him.
Yeah.
They really...
Yeah, rather than shutting down their ears.
Yes, it's not wasted.
Because it's going to be a sermon.
Yeah, mine. Where Carter puts up his hand and says, "Ma, I got it." I'm like, dang it, I did it again. That's great advice.
Well, this also says, Al-Anon helped me to let live by teaching me about detachment and helping me to see that many of my problems stemmed from minding everybody's business but my own. And so you think, how important is it? Not that. I mean, some things are really important.
Yeah, but a lot is not.
And, I can remember when my girls were teenagers, and I would get so frustrated with them for talking back to me. Whereas, I mean, if I'd had that, before once I learned that, I learned to be okay with them just being annoyed with me.
Oh.
Rather than
My children are consistently annoyed with me. And that is a great place to get. It's like, I don't care if you're upset with me.
Yeah.
Like, you still have to do the dishes.
Yeah.
And get a job.
Yeah.
But a lot of people feel very unsettled with that. I get that.
Yeah, and I can sometimes I find myself thinking I need to comment on everything that somebody does, like in my family or something that affects me, or giving advice to my girls about their children. I just don't.
Yeah, I think you're really good at that.
Yeah. It's just, I just try to keep my mouth shut a little, even though it may be important, but it's not on my side of the street, like
Right.
Kat said.
Right. So you keep going because all I have is a screenshot. I can't read the explanations.
If you go
No.
Are you
just
sure?
do it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Easy Does It. Easy Does It suggests not only that I learn to slow down, but also that I learn to lighten up. Today I will strive to take a more accepting attitude toward myself and to enjoy the day regardless of what I achieve.
Oh, I'm really good at that.
You are?
Yeah.
That's good.
I think you are too.
Well,
I don't get bogged down by, I know Tom does. Like, if he doesn't get his to-do list done, don't you get all torqued up, Tom?
Yeah, I can get a little uneasy.
Like, if it's not all perfect, you can get a little sideways, right? Haven't you
Yeah.
said that before?
Ask somebody if they've ever, anybody who's been riding in a golf cart with me, if they get antsy and write the scores in without my permission, there's a problem.
That's hilarious.
wait,
'Cause,
you want to,
well,
wait.
I'm being dead serious. Like, I start that card in my handwriting, it's going to stay in my handwriting.
Because
Yes,
you want
wow.
to make
I know,
sure
but
they're being
because
truthful.
I can't look down there and see one of the scores in somebody else's handwriting. It would make my brain explode. I will erase their handwriting and then do it in mine.
That is... You probably just made everybody feel so much better about their shit.
I am dead serious. You can talk to any of my friends out there. They'll be like, yeah, we don't touch that card.
That is so what? That's so funny.
She's about to go full therapy on you.
Yeah,
No.
Easy does
So
it. Next
dumb.
time I'm playing golf, I'm just going to be like, when I'm walking back to the cart, Easy does it.
Breathe. Do one hole at a time.
Yep.
Today, I'm going to be able to let them write down my score.
It's one little step at a
Well,
time.
if your scores were so good that you had a wall framed with all of the cards, that would be one thing.
Fair.
I'll tell you what, I'll bring for next week, I'll bring all my scorecards for the week and you can see them all. And you'll
For
see
the
what I'm
week.
talking about.
How much golf are you playing this week?
Because
yeah,
I'm
'cause
going on
you're
a
going on
golf
a
trip
golf
tomorrow.
trip.
It's
Yeah.
going to be quite a bit.
So, Tom, speaking of golf, I've totally thought of you the other day. I was playing golf with Craig, and it was real slow. So we paired up with two guys that were ahead of us.
I commend you for that. I wish more people did that.
Yeah, so it's 2-2. So anyway, 2-2 became 4 because there was a 5-some ahead. Anyway, it was getting way backed up.
Yeah.
And the second hole, here came the question to Craig, not to me. So, Craig, what do you do? And I thought of our conversation last week and how you said, like on the golf course, when people ask you, what do you do? And you have to like let go of your ego because you're a stay-at-home dad. I was like, oh, we giggled about it. Like, I bet you can't go 2 holes without somebody asking you.
Definitely not.
That's
Tom,
so funny.
What do you do for a living? And they didn't even give a shit about me. Like, there's no way
Yeah,
she
like
works.
you were
It's
invisible.
a definite
Like-
dude thing to ask.
It
Like,
is.
why don't you ask me what I do?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I can remember when Tom and I had, like, if we were in Arizona or something and we were playing golf and we had to pair up with somebody because they wouldn't let twosomes on the course. And I would get on that first tee and I would feel like that I was about to hit a drive for every woman in the entire world. And if it was good, I was like, yes. And if it was bad, I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
I have a lot of the same feelings about that. Like, I love being if I'm having a good game and I'm playing with people that I don't know well, I'm like, see, girls can play.
Yeah.
Totally have that too. Okay.
All right, there's one more sentence with this. Improving our own attitudes and our own state of mind takes time. Haste and impatience can only defeat our purposes.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
Easy does it.
Easy does it.
Yep.
Okay, so that is probably all we can get into this episode.
Oh, okay. Well,
if we're doing them in 3.
Yep, we're going to do them in 3. So let's close it up.
Okay.
And, well, you guys are going to have to wait until next week to hear the next slew. We're on a tight ship today, so we got to close up shop early. But we hope you have an amazing week, and thank you so much for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Ta-da.